Hello and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, we're going to discuss, can you raise equity to buy a second home here in the UK? Now, a second property can serve many different purposes. It could be a buy-to-let, it could be a generic second home, it could be a holiday home, it could be a property for your family to reside in. There's many different types of second properties, and there are certainly lenders who can cater for that. Now, the main hurdle that people have when buying a second property and raising capital from their existing property is mortgage affordability. Obviously, if you're buying a second property and you're raising a mortgage on that new property, your affordability and your income will be stretched even more. So even though you are buying a totally separate property, lenders will look at how much you've borrowed on your current property and the second property and assess whether you can afford both at the same time. More often than not, most people are fairly stretched on their current property, so they're not able to borrow enough on the second property. But as I say, this is the main consideration for a mortgage lender. So what is our purpose as mortgage brokers in arranging a transaction where someone's raising capital to buy a second property? The first thing we would do is look at your existing property and see what equity you have in it. Most of the time, people are refinancing that current property to raise capital to use then as a deposit on the onwards purchase of the second property. So first we have to establish how much can they borrow on that first property and do they have enough equity to do this. A lot of the time, people are then borrowing an additional mortgage on a second property. So we have to look at how much do they need to raise and what's the loan to value going to be of both properties on completion, because loan to value is the main determinant of the interest rate, and we need to make sure, if we can, that we get the very best interest rates for clients on both properties. So that's why it's often worth, rather than loading up one property and having a smaller mortgage on the other, it's often worth balancing the mortgages on both properties. That can result in the best interest rates for both assets. And as brokers, we'll obviously look at the criteria from both mortgage lenders if you are raising a mortgage on your existing property and a mortgage on the onward purchase. The lender has to be happy with the property criteria, they have to be happy with the loan to value criteria, and they also have to, the existing lender anyway, has to be happy that you're raising the money to buy a second property, because some lenders are not happy with that. So that's why if you are planning to do this, it's not a straightforward transaction. It's always worth chatting with a whole of market broker like Boon Brokers and getting our opinion, and we can create a proper proposal for you to consider. So what are the associated costs to consider when buying a second property? The main one is stamp duty. Now, with stamp duty, the additional rate of stamp duty will be applied to your new purchase price. A lot of people don't know this, but it can be quite off-putting because that higher tier of stamp duty, that additional tier, is very expensive. So stamp duty is the first thing to consider. Secondly, you'll have legal fees. So not only will you have legal fees on the remortgage if you're raising capital on your current property, but you'll have the conveyancing fees for purchasing the new property. That's another cost. Now, if you're using a fee-charging broker, you may have mortgage broker costs. Now, us at Boon Brokers, we don't charge a penny at any stage of the process. So by using us, you can save quite a lot of money on that basis. And we are whole of market, fee-free, and directly authorized by the FCA. And another cost that you may have is survey costs. Obviously, when you're buying a new property, you should consider getting a survey just to know the nuts and bolts of your property. There's different types of surveys you can go for. You can go for a home buyers, you can go for a full structural survey, or just settle for a basic survey. The choice is entirely up to you. The mortgage lenders will be doing their own valuations, so you don't need to worry about them. But it's normally worth having your own survey just to check to make sure that the property is at a suitable standard. If your survey does highlight issues with the property, you can use this as a form of negotiation to get, hopefully, the purchase price down. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed and you want to learn more, read the blog below. If you want to submit an inquiry with us at Boon Brokers, visit our website and click the Contact Us button. One of our brokers would be more than happy to help. They're fee-free, whole of market, and directly authorised by the FCA.